I was strong, healthy, and thriving. Just 3 weeks after my second dose, I couldn't go up a flight of stairs without gasping for air. It felt like my body was failing me. I was experiencing right heart failure. There is no cure. It felt like a death sentence. And to understand what happened to my injury, I found researchers who had predicted this was going to happen. It causes cells to grow and divide when they should not. It was published in December 2020, although not widely known, that was causing damage to placenta and to lung.
So they knew all of this. They
Yes.
knew this.
Yes.
They knew this.
Yes.
And
This
yet
was
they
knowable.
lied to us. They rolled this out. Billions were made. They called it safe and effective. They mandated it. And they knew this.
That is correct, Senator.
Our next witness is Dr. Robert Sullivan. Dr. Sullivan is a licensed physician and board-certified anesthesiologist with over 20 years of active practice in Maryland. He is here today to talk about his vaccine injury following his COVID-19 injection. Dr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Senators. My story is not as bad. The same month I received my first COVID mRNA shot, I was featured in the Wall Street Journal's What's Your Workout column for aerial circus arts. I was strong, healthy, and thriving. Just 3 weeks after my second dose, I couldn't go up a flight of stairs without gasping for air. I became short of breath doing even simple things, walking, standing, even speaking. I had constant chest pressure, arrhythmias, and overwhelming fatigue. I cannot overstate the misery. It felt like my body was failing me. I was experiencing right heart failure. Still, I questioned myself. Was this real or in my head? Then an echocardiogram confirmed the damage. I was relieved that it wasn't imagined and stunned to realize this is how I likely die. The diagnosis was pulmonary hypertension. I had damage and narrowing of the blood vessels in my lungs, restricting blood flow and straining the heart. This isn't like regular high blood pressure. Pulmonary hypertension is usually progressive and fatal even with treatment. There is no cure. It felt like a death sentence. I reported my case to VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. Most doctors I know had never heard of it. Fewer understood that it carries mandatory reporting requirements. I was never taught about VAERS in medical school. I'm told it still isn't. Eventually, VAERS collected my medical records. I expected to hear from the FDA or CDC. I never did. I believed in the system. I believed I would be heard. When I wasn't, I channeled that disbelief into collaborating with the British Medical Journal on a report about the system's failures. What I learned is chilling. If you are harmed, you are on your own. I've had to adapt. Maybe some of the novel treatments I tried helped. On the outside, I look fine. I returned to running, even to aerial arts. That brings me joy, but also unease. I've lost half my lung capacity. If I can look this normal while carrying that much damage, how many others are out there suffering silently? In researching my condition, I found the Georgetown scientist who predicted my specific problem. The very same month of the vaccine rollout, he warned that spike protein exposure, whether from the virus or from the shot, could harm the blood vessels in the lungs and placenta. Spike protein itself from the SARS-1 virus, SARS-1, also caused vascular damage in animals. I learned many hospitalized COVID patients developed pulmonary hypertension. Autopsies showed the same kind of lung vessel damage I had. Long COVID patients with persistent breathlessness have the same findings. As in my case, their symptoms improve, but the damage remains. We now know the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein can damage the lungs, heart, and brain in animals. It is toxic, irrefutably so. I know that's uncomfortable to hear. One study found athletes who got mRNA boosters saw drops in aerobic capacity equivalent to aging 5 to 10 years in just 1 week. Why is this? I now see colleagues and patients struggling with daily tasks. Many are limited by unexplained shortness of breath. Could this be a spectrum of vascular damage like what happened to me? These are urgent questions. This is not normal aging. This is not simple deconditioning. Until we study this systematically, we won't know how many have been injured by COVID or by the spike protein itself. Our medical system must honor its foundational oath, do no harm. When harm does occur, the right thing is to recognize it, acknowledge suffering, and work to relieve it while advancing research into safer therapies. Government must serve as a safeguard, restoring accountability, transparency, and public trust. And above all, every medical decision must be grounded in truly informed consent. Patients deserve and demand clear, honest information. The freedom to decide what's right for them is a right. Mandatory medicine is not medicine. Acknowledgement matters, being seen, heard, and believed. That is the first and perhaps most important step in healing. To others who have been harmed, I see you. While our injuries differ, I understand the suffering and isolation that comes when the system meant to protect you instead abandons you. I believe you. Senator Johnson and members of the committee, thank you for giving us this opportunity to start to heal.
On the panel, Dr. Sullivan, outside of your testimony in terms of your own COVID injection, and I call it injection because it's not a vaccine, your own injury, can you enlighten us in terms of the attitude of most doctors when it comes to vaccines, what kind of training, what kind of information they have? And by the way, do you also find it jaw-dropping that a pediatrician would tell a mom when their baby's having seizures, oh, that's perfectly normal after vaccine?
I agree that is jaw-dropping. The training for vaccines now is limited to memorizing the schedule. In the preparation for this testimony, I reviewed my historical textbooks about vaccination chapters. And Senator Blumenthal, I want to commend you for really an excellent summary as an attorney about the history of vaccines. I'm actually very enthusiastic about vaccination. Your story about the history of the deaths of smallpox, the lives saved, is convincing.
I don't think, I'm not sure I follow your comment.
Well, you gave a summary, so the history of vaccines. So I'm actually, it may surprise you, I'm enthusiastic about vaccination. So when we look at the history of vaccination, smallpox was so successful that it's not even on the schedule anymore. It was a success. Then followed vaccinations to bacterial toxoids. That's the DTP vaccines. And then there was vaccination to viruses, MMR. And you talk about polio. That was a great fear in my mother's time. And we know, and I haven't seen these cases. I've seen maybe 2 cases of pertussis in my career, and I read about measles. I've never seen it. I wouldn't recognize these things. So we know from experience it's successful. What we're missing, though, and this is not taught in medical school, is there's a cost to this success. There's a cost to manufacturing the medicine and the research. There's a cost to administer it. And there's the hidden cost of injuries, and we do not know what that is. It is not studied. It's not taught. Senator Johnson, does that answer your question?
Sort of.
Okay.
Sort of.
Well, I want to be clear, too, and I'm not vaccine injured. I'm injured by an mRNA therapeutic. I was very careful in my testimony to use the word shot.
So while I have you, because
Yes.
Again, I was warned early on because I was talking to people highly skeptical of the mRNA. One doctor beside himself, understanding what his colleagues were going to do, inject something into the human body that would turn the human cell into a manufacturing site for something that's toxic to its body. It's like, gee, what could go wrong?
Yes.
You know, encapsulated in a lipid nanoparticle designed to permeate difficult permeate barriers like the blood-brain, like the placenta. You knew it wasn't. They knew it wouldn't. They knew it didn't stay in the arm, and yet they lied to us.
Oh, they lied to us.
That
was not told at the time.
So again, I would say that a doctor telling Ms. Tommy that a seizure after a vaccination is perfectly normal.
No, it isn't.
That's a lie.
Yes.
I mean, it's a jaw-dropping lie. But talk about the spike protein, because what we're hearing now is what I'm seeing is everybody, it's all being blamed on long COVID. You know, the brain fog, it's all about long COVID. No, again, once again, complete state of denial. Well, the nasty part of the coronavirus is the spike protein.
Yes.
That is the antigen that the mRNA injection cause the body to produce?
Yes, it's a
Kind of like,
biologically active
duh, so
molecule.
maybe it's the vaccine that's causing the brain fog, the neurological injuries, and the death, and the strokes, and the I can't remember what it's called, the lining inside your blood vessels. I mean, that's, I think, your problem, right?
Vasculitis, yes.
Yeah.
Inflammation of vessels.
So talk a little bit about what you found out now that you've done your research in terms of the spike protein. And when you've got, at least in the virus, it hopefully would clear, but with the mRNA, it's not real mRNA, it's modified. It's modified to not be destroyed by the body, to keep circulating. Now we have studies that the mRNA, that modified mRNA, it's circulating in the body for months. We haven't done that in much studies to find out how long, but we're finding it in tumors, we're finding it in other autopsy body parts, that type of thing. Can you just talk about that, and then we'll turn it back over to Senator Blumenthal.
You're correct. There are many ways to lose with this new mRNA technology. There are problems with lipid nanoparticle. There is a separate set of problems with synthetic mRNA. It persists in some people 700 days and counting now. There will always be a problem when you load the instructions to make a protein, in that it will present on the surface of the cell and will become a setup for autoimmune disorders. Separate from that, spike protein in and of itself is biologically active. And to understand what happened to my injury, I found researchers who had predicted this was going to happen. It causes cells to grow and divide when they should not. It was published in December 2020, although not widely known, that was causing damage to placenta and to lung. I was probably one of the very few doctors that knew that that shot did not stay in the arm, and I don't even know how I found that information, but I would say that was virtually unknown. And later I found this out to be true. I only found out spike protein was toxic later when I met the researchers, and I asked, how did you think to research that? Because they knew in 2005 with SARS-1 that spike protein alone, without the virus, would be enough to harm an animal. Later, in the research of the original novel bat human coronavirus, this is the 2015 research at UNC with Dr. Ralph Barrick, NIH, and Wuhan Labs. That was the gain of function research, and so they had a SARS virus that became more lethal, more transmissible. They attempted to do a vaccine for that trial. That was a traditional vaccine, not mRNA. They had vaccine-induced harm and lethality in the animals, and in the pathology slides of those animals, this is mice, you can see the same vascular lung damage that we're seeing today with SARS-2.
So they knew all of this. They
Yes.
knew this.
Yes.
They knew this.
Yes.
And
This
yet
was
they
knowable.
lied to us. They rolled this out. Billions were made. They called it safe and effective. They mandated it, and they knew this.